Dave Brokaw. Josh Briner here with Vibe Short-Term Rental Management. I'm here with my maintenance manager, Dave Brokaw. Last time I checked the rankings, you were in the top 3 maintenance managers in all the United States of America.
No kidding.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel great. I'd like to see this data. I'm gonna keep tracking this, I think.
Everybody loves you, man.
No, that's great.
Everybody loves you. The clients love you. The guests love you. The clients love you more than they love me, which I actually kind of like, man. It just kind of speaks to the job you do and stuff. Why don't you just kind of introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about what you do in the short-term rental world?
Yeah. Well, I've been with Vibe for about, this is my 3rd full year, starting in June. So came on board with Vibe when they were pretty young. You and JC got it started up and got to the point where you needed some help, and so I was lucky enough to step in that position. So just a little background on me. I had my own painting business when I first got out of school. I went, I'm local. I went to CCFL for a while, ended up going to Buffalo, studied economics and business and stuff like that. Got out of school and started a painting business. Got married, had a daughter, and worked that for a while. And then I ended up transitioning into the restaurant business. And, was there for about 26 years, decided to leave that, and then just kind of landed on this job, got introduced to you guys through a friend, and had an interview that lasted about 17 minutes.
Yeah.
And y'all hired me.
Yeah.
Kind of sight unseen, when can you start? And I said, tomorrow. You said, let's go.
Yep.
So that was 3 years ago. And not really knowing what I was getting into, not knowing anything about the short-term rental business, I really had to learn on the fly. And, I knew I'd be doing maintenance stuff. I didn't know how involved it would be. I'm not super technical in a lot of things, but you reassured me that, I don't have to be. My job is to make sure owners are happy, that we're, protecting their investments, watching over things, doing general maintenance, and really just making sure guests are having good experiences. And that's really what I do on a daily basis.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's funny with Vibe, like you mentioned, like I still remember the interview with you vividly, and something that we're big at Vibe is personality hires. Like if you come to me with 30 years experience, that might be 30 years of experience working against you. And when you told me your backstory and like your time in the restaurant, like all you were saying to me is like, I work really hard. I'm okay with working extraneous hours. I'm good with customer service. All the other stuff can be learned on the go, as you've done, right?
Yeah.
So a reason I wanted to do this is you see a lot of podcasts and interviews that pertain to short-term rentals. And everybody, it's just guys like me, right? The owners sitting around talking, and it's like, I want to get down to the nitty-gritty. Like, I want this to truly bring value. I want this to bring value to potential investors, current owners, and I want them to understand how detail-oriented this business is and can be. So I guess my first question for you is like, what are some things that you encounter on the weekly or monthly basis that are like repetitive, that you could actually be like, this is something you got to watch out for, this is something you have to prepare for? Do you have any of those things in mind?
Well, yeah. I mean, we're pushing 100 properties now, so I get the same types of calls all the time. And I'll have my day planned out, and I'm going to go here, and here based on, bookings and departures and stuff like that, and arrivals and stuff like that. And it never works out that way because it's the same stuff that always comes up.
Yeah.
And it's really, they're these little technical things, it's Wi-Fi issues, it's heating and cooling issues, HVAC stuff, mini splits, guests come in, they don't know how to work the system. It's hot in there, and it's usually just a push a button and, get it in the right mode and stuff like that. But they're very time consuming kind of things,
yes.
And they're things that can make or break a booking. So, and then from the owner's standpoint, the things that I see, the things that take up a lot of my time are just things that I just can't get owners to think are important.
Yeah.
your couch is really outdated. You know? And Nana's couch that she left you is, probably was super comfortable when you used to live here, and take naps on it. But for an Airbnb, it's got to go.
Right. And they say, tell Josh to make me more money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And it's always. There's this really fine balance between making guests happy and making owners happy, and it's a really tough one. It's tough, it's a tough thing to balance for me.
For sure.
My first obligation is to, it's like 49%, 51% owners and guests. It's
exactly.
Really
that's
close.
The best way to put it, and it changes. Because when we're in July and we have an $8,000 booking, that 51% is going to start gearing toward the guest.
Absolutely. And so I'm constantly balancing my day, watching the clock, watching bookings, waiting for things to come in. And I think what owners don't really understand is that they look at their house and they think it's a great Airbnb, and you've talked about this a lot. Just because you inherited a house on the lake doesn't make it a great Airbnb.
Yeah, and it's so true. And it's something that I've had my eye and mind on for a while, being plugged into a national, if not global, network of STR investors. Something that we don't see a lot of in the Finger Lakes as of now is the super properties. And they're coming, and they are going to eat people's lunch. And, there has to be an inherent level of risk that you're willing to incur as an investor. It's called investing, not money making. The thing that makes it really difficult to pitch to somebody is a lot of our investors come from the long-term rental world or commercial world, or they're investing in some other realm, and it's all about like the refi and the BRRRR, we call it, getting your money back out. What is a bank value? The things that a bank values, a short-term rental is going to need, but a bank is not going to care, right? Like a professional design. How do you put a price on a professional design? How do you put a price on a beautiful view? How do you put a price on an amenity like a barrel sauna and hot tub that's going to cost you $15,000 for the duo? A bank's not going to give you any extra money on a BRRRR, but it is going to make you a bunch more money on your bookings. And it's not just, this is where it gets really complicated. It's not just like, how much money is this going to make me? It's like, no. How much longer are you going to be able to last against the competition? That's the other question you have to ask yourself. As more and more people enter this space and they do this, how are you going to measure up? So sometimes it's just about sustaining, because of saturation. It's a tough business, but man, when it's done right, it is extremely profitable, as you know. Another question I had for you, kind of a fun one. Well, two fun ones in a row that I'm really curious about. So the first one, and I thought you'd really like this one. Can you think of a time that you've had like a real MacGyver-like fix, like something that a guest is coming in a half hour, the store's closed, you better work with what you got in your truck to make things happen? Anything come to mind?
I have a few in mind. I MacGyver a lot. I have to MacGyver a lot. If anybody's ever seen my truck, I drive a really nice truck, and it's kind of like my baby, and it is just packed to the gills with stuff. Because I learned very early that, I'm in the Finger Lakes, so the nearest Lowe's is 45 minutes away, and so I got to have everything with me at all times. So I'm MacGyvering a lot, but usually it's what I'm MacGyver a lot of times are bed frames. Like I've fixed so many bed frames. Like a guest will arrive, throw their suitcase on a bed and it'll collapse. So I get a call and there's 12 people in this house. There's no place else for them to sleep, and I've got to go out there and try to fix a bed frame, like a metal bed frame. I don't have a welder with me. You know? And so I'm pulling whatever fasteners I can together and getting it tidied up. And then, once I can get a guest through their stay, and that's the thing with MacGyver and things. My goal is I've got to get this guest through their stay, give them, and get a 5-star review, and then we'll come back and we'll take care of it right, or we'll contact the owner. We'll get a new one of whatever.
Temporary fix to get through the stay. Then we apply a more long-lasting fix.
And I've MacGyvered everything from dryer vents to beds and flooring and appliances, dishwashers that the clips have all broke, and you open open the door and the dishwasher just comes out at you. And I'm like, I don't have a Whirlpool, dishwasher clip, on me. So I got to figure out something. And And it's kind of a funny thing. I drive home on days like that when I've MacGyvered stuff, and I'm like, I'm puffed up my chest, and I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
And I've left the guest, and they're like, "Oh my God, that was the nicest thing that anybody's ever done."
Yeah.
And those are big wins for me and my self-esteem, but for the company. I've left there in a situation where a guest is going to give a 3-star review. By the time I leave there, it's a 5-star review.
100%.
It's gone to 4, and then I've charmed them a little bit, and I've given them, the vibe special treatment, and it becomes a 5-star review.
Yeah.
Like that.
And it's huge, man. And something that, and just pull your mic in a little bit closer. Something that is just, I can't tell you how grateful I am for the fact that we have created a team that genuinely cares. And it's like, man, the gratitude I feel for that is just insane. Like, cares about our vision, what we want to do, what kind of energy we want to bring, and finding people that are really, it's at the end of the year, like, we're going to do raises and stuff, but it's like, how much more are you really getting out of putting in that extra effort? And the fact that you all care to do that for us and our vision, I'll never be able to pay you back, man. We appreciate it so much. And you know how I am with the reviews. It's a struggle for me, man. And it's not that I take them personally. It's that I'm very hard on myself. And when I see the bad reviews, it like pushes me out of my flow state, and I will perseverate on it, and I'm very upset, and then I know I'm going to have to talk to an owner about it and explain it, and it's rough. And knowing that we're doing things proactively instead of reactively to fix that, it's just amazing. And it brings me to my next question, because this always blows my mind. So I was just at the STR Wealth Conference, as you know, and that is a gathering of who's who in the STR world. So it's just managers, investors, influencers, whoever is important in that sphere for the most part is there. And every time I got an opportunity to talk to like a manager or co-host, I did. The amount of them that operate their business without in-house maintenance blows my mind. How are they even doing this? Like when you get, maybe if you have like 10 properties and you want to be the person driving around, but we're coming in on 100 properties, how the hell does anyone manage with just one maintenance manager? We hired another person to help you with stuff. 2 was supposed to be, but we onboard so quickly, her job changed.
Yep.
How do you think they do that? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I have no idea. I don't think they do it very well.
Yeah.
I don't think they will ever do it as well as Five does it. And not, not to toot my own horn or anything, but I think I'm getting a little bit of a reputation out there.
Dude, I told you you're ranked 3 in the world right now. Number 3.
I might feel like Evander Holyfield or something, It's such a multifaceted position, and it just really takes the right people. We did try to hire more people, and we got a lot of candidates, and we went through 75 applications. We interviewed 10 or 12, and they were all like, no.
No. How do you even describe what we do?
It's really hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard to do. You got to be able to think on the fly. But back to your question, I don't know how these other places do it. I don't think they do it very well. If you've got 3 or 4 or 5 and you're self-managing yourself, you can probably do it. I think we've had, maybe a client or 2 that's like, I don't need you, I'm going to do this myself. And then they crash and burn, or they're 3 hours away and a toilet clogs, or something like that. You got to be on it, or you got to have somebody that's local. You got to have somebody in the field all the time, reporting back to you, making guests happy, making owners happy. And if you don't, I don't know how they do it.
I've seen one person do it successfully. We just sold their place. I sold it the last few months ago. And kudos to them, man. And they did it well. And it's not to say it can't be done. I've seen it. Everyone else that has ever left us, either to pursue other management or to do it themselves, has sold within 6 months.
Yeah.
Never seen anybody succeed.
Yeah.
It's a detail-oriented business. And something I talk about a lot is opportunity cost. And it's like, what is the value of your time? This is a 24/7, 365 business. You are getting calls on Christmas. You are getting calls in the summer. All the times that you want to enjoy with yourself and your family, when do you think people are booking places?
Yeah.
Then. It's not Tuesday in November. It's Thanksgiving. And the sacrifices that we have to make are substantial. And I don't get it, man. I hear people talk about it. I think a lot of times maybe they just they have a really good established network. They find some guy that's old and retired looking for something to do. Great for them. Good luck to you. But to me, in-house maintenance is quintessential to a solid management business.
Yeah. And like I'm the face of Vibe out there, you know. For the most part, a guest is never going to meet you. They're never gonna meet, you know, our back of house people. You know, they might talk on the phone or message or something like that. But they're not gonna see me because they have problems. Sometimes they're gonna see me because I'm there servicing the hot tub or whatever, or cleaning the pool, or I'm dropping off something, you know. And whenever I have those interactions, it benefits. It always benefits Vibe. Like, if I have to go to a property, even if there's a problem, it seems like those guests always give better reviews than if they just stayed there and they never had any kind of interaction with anybody at all. So, so I make sure that when I'm there, I make it special in some way. Either fix something that's really important to them, or I just have a nice conversation with them and show them the face of Vibe and that we care and we're here for whatever your needs are. So, but the other thing with these, you know, how do you do it without a management guy or a maintenance guy? I don't know. We have this house in Seneca Lake, and I manage this really nice house. It's booked back to back to back to back to back. It's one of our best money makers. The owners are ecstatic. The house right next door, similar house, and whenever I go there, the owner is there, like sweating to death, taking care of stuff. For an incoming guest that's coming tomorrow, and I'm like, don't you have a day job? Like it's like Tuesday at 1:30 in the afternoon, and he's down there getting this place ready for a guest. You know, so I guess if you got more money than you know what to do with, and and you want to manage one house, it can be good. It can be good, but 2, 3, 4 houses and more. I don't know how they do it.
And some people really enjoy it, and it's funny, like. It's biblical. God commands me to put my skills to their highest and best use. And I take that seriously and I think about it a lot. I know what my highest and best use is, and it's doing stuff like this, and it's building the relationships, and it's building out the network and the marketing, and that's what I'm best at. And I was fortunate enough to have the discernment to learn that early. And I'll never forget, JC's the other owner of Vibe, you know, we bought a cabin and we're sitting there and we're, you know, scraping the logs and we're doing this. And I've successfully flipped 6 houses, burned all of them, got all my money back. Can do it just fine. I can work a tile saw. I can hang drywall. I can run Romex. Like, I can do all that stuff. But what is my highest and best use? One day I looked at JC. We'd been going to this cabin, and it's one that's still not live 4 years later.
It will be soon.
I said, JC, we've spent here the last month, 2 months, every weekend. If I had the same amount of time that I am spending working on this cabin, I could have gotten us 5 to 10 clients for our management company. Eventually, just kind of like, do it. We're gonna hire out the rest of this. Let's see what this thing can do. And there was a lot of different reasons for that. And it wasn't just it was the highest and best use of my time. It was I'm not getting true fulfillment or enjoyment. I mean, most days, like right now, you are overworked, right? We can both agree. Unfortunately, our new hire had a lot of vacations planned, and there was a plan to help you in our busiest time of the year that kind of fell through. But when you are not overworked, you always tell me, like, I love my job. You genuinely like it when you're not doing too much and you still have time with your family. You know, I don't. I wouldn't be good at your job. And you probably wouldn't get a lot of enjoyment out of doing what I'm doing. I don't know that, but I don't think you would like it as much as you like what you do now.
Right.
So, you know, it's interesting how time-consuming these mundane maintenance issues are, which is why I wanted to place an emphasis on it at Vibe. Not only do we place an emphasis on it, we don't charge for maintenance right now.
Yeah.
It's free. It's part of the 20% tier, which from my findings and everybody I talk to is like, why are you doing that again? Nobody else does it. And another funny thing, and at first I was very embarrassed about this, but I'll tell you and anybody else that ends up watching this. This is an acronym, it's called EBITDA, and I still couldn't tell you exactly what it stands for. It's a well-known term in business, and it's essentially, how much money is your business making, right? And there was a group of like 8 guys talking property management, and somebody said, what's your EBITDA? I said, what's EBITDA? And it was like, record scratch. All 8 of the guys slowly turned and looked at me, and I'm like, I don't know what it is. And they like told me. And I walked away from that conversation feeling a little embarrassed. And then the more I thought about it and ruminated on it, I actually kind of take pride in that. You know, I'm not a martyr. I'm not dying on the cross. Eventually, Vibe is meant to make profit and yield a profit. It is not our focus right now. We are not focused on what our EBITDA is and how much money we're making. We want to find good people, create a good culture, do a good job, and eventually those things will come. That's what I truly believe. So, yeah, man. You know, another interesting question I had for you, and I'm going to try to guess this, and I want you to like think about it for a second. What tool would you say you use the most at Vibe? And it's funny, when I wrote this question, I was like thinking about it. I'm like, man.
Well, I have very specific tools, you know.
So I'm gonna go with the basic. Right. I'm gonna go with the really basic answer. I'm gonna hit you with 2. Right. So some type of like tape, like a duct tape, and or just a screwdriver. What do you get?
I don't quite MacGyver so many things that duct tape would be number one.
That would be bad, right? You know, like I use duct tape more than anything.
It's definitely a screwdriver. Most of the time, it's a power screwdriver of some sort. But it is you know. It's right next to me. It's the first tool that I see when I get out of my truck, for a reason, because I'm gonna put that screwdriver in my pocket, even if I'm going in to fix something that has nothing to do with the screwdriver. It's going in my pocket because I'm gonna use it at some point. But it's definitely the power screwdriver and a regular handheld screwdriver. That's the go-to.
I figured like that, maybe a tape measure.
Hardly
like
ever.
That. Yeah.
Nope, hardly. It's less things than you would think of. I have to use a lot of, you know, I'm always testing electric, so I'm always testing outlets, and so that'll go in my pocket before I go in if I know it has anything to do with electric. But without question, without a doubt, like it's a screwdriver. You know, honestly, a hammer could sit in my tool bag for a month, you know.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. It's not something you really need.
Screwdriver comes out at every property I stop at. So,
yeah, and going back to what we were talking about earlier, and I never got a chance to say this, but you were saying like most guests won't know me. Like they know me through my name, right? Because it's Josh communicating. I am always watching the messaging. That's one thing I have not relinquished. I don't do it actively typically. I watch it all day long. I always see the notifications, messaging come through, make sure everything's good, being responded to in time. We have VAs that handle a lot of that. And most people hear VA, which we call Vibe Attendant internally, which, you know, it's kind of a cutesy way of getting around the, what does a VA actually stand for? Virtual Assistant.
Right.
But these are truly Vibe attendants. Like when we hired our VAs, we went through a lot of them. We went through probably like 7 or 8 different VAs before we landed on our team. Yeah. And something I was really big on was telling the VAs, I'm going to pay you more than anybody else is going to pay you. And it's still not like a substantial amount of money to Vibe. But we start our VAs out in US minimum wage. We start them out at $7.25. Most of them are going to start 4 to 5. And then after like a probationary period, see what they can do, they move to 8. And then they go up from there, which for them is, you know, if the Philippines where we hire our VAs.
I was going to say, most people maybe watching this don't know where our VAs are.
Yeah, the Philippines.
Like, you pay your VAs $7.50 an hour, you cheap bastard. You know?
Yeah.
These people are in the Philippines. They're like driving Escalades in Manila.
It's wild. Yeah, like it's literally like our main assistant, she's making the equivalent of like $150,000 a year stateside, and she deserves it. Like the amount of work she puts in. And I thought about her May, my sweet May that keeps my whole life organized, and often gets the worst of me because she has to communicate. You're good, man. You're okay. She is mentioned in the reviews all the time along with yourself. Like sometimes people will say like, Josh, thanks Josh for the great stay or whatever, but it's really not me. They see my name up there or whatever. But you are mentioned in reviews often, and so is May, and that's pretty special, man. That's really cool.
No, I like to see that. You know, I see it a lot. May will put in the chat sometimes that, you know, this guest said Dave's the best, or, you know, thank Dave for coming. You know, couldn't have done it with it. You know, and listen, I'm like a puppy dog. You know, you give me a little bit of praise, and you know, I'll run through a burning building for you. You know? And so, you know, I feed off of that kind of stuff. That's what keeps me going, and it's not the money or anything like that. That's not why I work at Vibe. I mean, you guys have created a culture where, and kind of going back to, you know, what you were talking about with you and JC trying to construct this cabin and being like, you know, my skills I could be out there and I could have 10 more properties on board by now if I wasn't wasting my time here. And that's what you've done a really good job at by bringing people like May on, hanging on to May. We had 7 or 8 VAs. She was clearly the best, and she's a rock star. Hanging on to her, making good hires. Everybody that we hire has just knocked it out of the park.
Yep.
And it's been from a cultural standpoint, but from a skill standpoint too. We've had these niches that we've had to fill, and we didn't know they were going to fill them so well. But they've all stepped up. Jill's a classic example. She was going to be my help in the field, but she came to the table with like 11
more
years.
Experience than all of us.
More experience than anybody,
yeah.
Right? And so we said, let's use this to our advantage. And
right.
it was the natural thing to do, and she's a rock star at what she does.
Yeah, and everybody, it's so interesting you say that. As you talk about culture, and just to go back to the VAs real quick, it's like, the other thing I made clear, like, I'm going to pay you better. This is not contractual. Like, I hope you work here until you retire. Like, you are a part of the Vibe team. You might not physically be here in the Finger Lakes, but I want you to know the Finger Lakes. I want you to know my staff. I want to see your personality shine, man. Like, something I'm real big on is I want to allow people the room to be themselves. Because I know when I'm not given that room, it feels really confining. I don't like that. And having, someone that is in the Philippines but knows the Finger Lakes just like a local is so valuable. And you talk about Jill, and Jill was supposed to originally be hired to kind of be your assistant, was the original goal. And it's like, I always encourage everyone in the team, like, seize your role and define it. Make your role what it is. I want to watch you grow. Like, I want to watch you say, no, Josh, this is wrong. I think this is what we should be doing, or I'm going to spend my time doing this. And if you're making a decision that you think is for the best of Vibe, and I don't, I'll stop you eventually. But overall, like, I love to try to give people their autonomy to do those things. And it's really been special, man. Another thing that I wonder is, let me make sure I'm asking this correctly, because this is an important question. What's like a tool or a trick or something you've learned throughout your time with Vibe that you could tell somebody that's like onboarding a property, their first Airbnb, they're going to do it all, they don't have money to hire anybody yet? Is there anything you can think of that comes to mind?
Well, I don't know if I have a trick, but I've learned a lot about, onboarding properties and watching them either succeed or flounder, And I think that there's a lot of things that owners don't realize when they get in this game, for the most part, like our owners are, for the most part, they're pretty savvy people. They're investors. They've got goals. They want to achieve things. They've got big plan. They got plans 5 years out, 10 years out. These are motivated people, and but they look at a house and they don't kind of correlate the house with what we do with short-term rentals and what guests want. And so, the tricks and the tools that and you preach this a lot, is, a house is really, it needs amenities. You can't just have a house. A lot of these owners, they don't really get that. They don't buy into it. And if they would just listen to you when you advise those things, they would hit the ground running.
Sure.
And you would be proven right pretty quickly, because the houses that have the amenities get booked.
Yep.
And the ones that don't, they get booked sometimes and they flounder at other times.
Yep.
And the thing with the amenities and stuff like that and these houses is that you kind of have to give a guest the total experience. Like, you could have a house on the lake, and it could be beautiful, on the lake, and a nice dock and a patio and stuff like that, and you walk in the house and the furniture's kind of dated, or the floors look like crap, or somebody flipped this real quick and put crappy laminates down, and stuff like that. And they'll have a good experience, but it won't be a great experience. It won't be the experience that they'll be like, let's come back here next year.
Yes, exactly. And like, that's a big thing. Something that we're really working on with Vibe is, we have been a client-focused business for a while now. And you say, like, in the field, obviously, like, the guest and the client are on equal footing. But in regards to where we are putting the majority of our energy, it's on clients. We are not recalibrating that. We still want to give our clients the same level of energy, but we need to give that equal energy to our guests. And something I'm constantly hearing is like, Josh, direct bookings, like, where are they? It's like, well, there's a few things with that. Number one, people aren't clamoring to direct book in April. It's pretty hard to get.
Yeah.
People do the direct bookings Memorial Day to Labor Day. So something I tell our clients is like, when you look at direct bookings, don't look at the amount, look at the total. And whatever, if you make $150,000 a year in rental revenue and 75,000 of that is from direct bookings, I don't care if it's just from 2 direct bookings, you are 50% direct bookings in revenue. That's what matters. And we have all types of different ways of trying to get those direct bookings, and we are getting much, much better at it. I mean, we have been getting data on our guests since the very first property that we onboarded. And this is the first year that I think we can make a significant impact. And we've already done that at a lot of our properties. But the other thing I tell our clients is like, man, some of the onus is on you. And I get it. I'm an investor. I know what it's like to bleed. You're regular people. I respect that. I'm a regular guy too. We're regular people at Vibe. I know you don't have unlimited funds. But if you enter this business with the intention of doing well and being successful, you have to put your best foot forward and your best product forward right off the rip. You know?
And that goes back to the what tool do I have, or what tool can, what have I learned that make these properties from a maintenance standpoint or from a on the ground standpoint, or the things that I see on a daily basis as I interact with these guests and stuff like that. And I think owners sometimes miss kind of the little nuances that make guests feel happy, like it could be as simple as landscaping, we'll obviously, we have a lawn guy, we have we have me there, we make the place look pretty, the cleaners do a great job at staging and stuff like that. But you probably should have like a full service landscaper.
Yes, for sure.
Instead of having a lawn contract, we should have a landscaping contract.
Yes.
And it's paid for monthly. We hire some great landscapers. They come and they do the mulch. They trim your ornamental bushes and stuff like that. Because I've got properties. No offense, I don't want to talk badly about our properties, but we've got bushes and shrubs and ornamental things that haven't been trimmed in 3 years.
Tired. You used that word the other day.
I did use that word, tired.
Tired. Yeah. A lot of our properties are tired, and our clients are tired too, and it's unfortunate because, again, we know what it's like to lose money as a regular person, but you got to spend some money to make it,
Yeah, but I think it's gonna bring the money in other ways.
For sure, and I can often pinpoint an ROI. I can say, listen, you had a hot tub, 18 months. Is like the baseline of how quickly you're going to repay yourself. We always say we can go through our listings November, December, January, February, and I can just go down my PMS that shows month by month. I know who has a hot tub just by who has bookings.
Yeah,
exactly. It's that simple.
It is.
And as keen of an eye as you think you might have for interior design, you are almost certainly not a professional. And I've seen some people that talk the talk and they walk the walk, and others put a decal of Mickey Mouse on the wall and they say, well, I got a Disney themed house.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, I would rather, and this is a bugaboo of mine, or it's like game rooms is a big one. I got a game room. It's like, you got a ping pong table, you got walls that have a fresh coat of paint, and you got a table that people can play cards at. It's nothing that's going to make someone go, remember that house with the awesome game room?
Yeah.
It's good, right? And if that's all you have to do, then I get it. But the thing that bothers me is when we get to the end of the year and we're talking about direct bookings and money, and it's like, why did this game room? It's like, you didn't. A game room, it needs to look something like this studio.
Exactly. Oh, yeah.
Professional design, LED light,
Yeah.
Good arcade games, the classics. Like, you got to go all the way with it. There's no half measures in this business. You really got to spend the money. You got to do it in the beginning. And this is another thing I've really been struggling with is at Vibe, I do all the pricing, right? And the thing with the dynamic pricing, it is not a crock pot. You cannot set it and forget it. And this is where a lot of people mess up. They go, oh, you set the thing and you let it go. It's like, you could. But once you have that regional expertise like I do, and you've been staring at these houses and what they make in all these different areas for years, you start to see where you can get some little wins. And this is all algorithmic. Like when I onboard a client, for example, their predilection is, well, obviously my pricing is going to be really low because my book to date window is this big. Somebody could hypothetically book 2 days out. So 2 days out isn't as good as 2 months out, isn't as good as 2 years out. So my price is going to be 50% reduced. Why don't I set a high ceiling? You can't book for under $250 a night or whatever it is. We'll skip over the riffraff. We'll get the good bookings in the long run. It's like, no.
Doesn't work that way.
Now you won't get the bookings in the long run because all these listing platforms have scores on you. of conversion rates and pricing and all these different technical things that shoot out, is this a good property that is serving my guests? That's where these listing platforms are making their money, their guests. And Airbnb takes the cake, right? They are the vast majority of the market. So when you forego the opportunity to get those original bookings, show the algorithms that you are a good host, get good reviews, those bookings beget bookings.
Yeah.
And I've seen this happen so many times. Every time, our clients will catch stuff sometimes that I would eventually catch, right? Hey, Josh, you can't book this time frame. Yeah, I would have caught that in 2 days when I did pricing, but thank you. The sooner we can get it fixed, the better. I will go adjust that. I've never had a client come to me and be like, Josh, we need to do this for pricing strategy. And by the end of the year, I'm like, well, that was good. Not once.
No.
I mean, I've seen people lose literally tens of thousands of dollars. I have a client in mind right now that will be leaving us shortly on good terms for them. We were actually talking about them before we came in. Probably lost $50,000 to $60,000 by not listening to my advice and what I advised. And it didn't even involve spending much money. I mean, it was maybe $2,000.
Right.
So yeah, it's one of those things where clients will often come to us and say, I want to be a partner to you. I want to be a good partner. It's like, okay, this is what I need for you to be a good partner. If you're truly interested in investing with me and being a good partner to me, I need new sheets on the beds.
Yes.
It's a $1,500 a night house in the summertime, and we have mismatched sheets that are tethered.
Yes.
You can't have it.
Yeah.
I want more direct bookings. Give me your money. Let me pull the trigger. I'll get you embroidered sheets. Here's the name. I'll get you a sign. I'll help. I can't pay for it all, right? We're already offering free consumables,
right?
Free maintenance. And again, as intent on we are is of at delivering value and bringing value, I'm not a martyr dying on the cross. Eventually, my long-term goal is to make some money with this thing. And I think we're already bringing...
Well, I hope you are already.
Yeah, I mean, we do all right, right? It's nothing crazy. Honestly, Dave, it's so nice having a business partner that you're in alignment with, because JC and I, again, I think JC is another person that is very familiar with his highest and best use. And what is fortuitous for Vibe is that JC and I have very different highest and best uses.
Yes.
We are very different people. We are good at very different things. We know our time is not best spent out in the field. And we are very intent on when we hit new numbers of properties, it's like, how can we improve? Where can we get better? Who's our next hire? How are we going to take care of the team we have? Because this is where a lot of employers screw up. You work your employees ragged and they leave.
Yeah.
And luckily, we haven't lost anybody at Vibe yet. Nobody's left us. And I'm really intent on keeping it that way because I really like our team. We have a special team, and you kind of look at it like a football team, right? And it's like one year, it's Josh Allen needs to get paid, right? You were Josh Allen last year.
Yep.
We got to get Dave paid, man. Like this year, it's probably going to be Cole, man. Cole's James Cook, right?
Oh
He's up for a new contract.
That's right.
So you really have to be careful and thoughtful about that. And we're doing fine. And I'm in a really good place with Vibe, man, because I truly feel like I'm able to hone in on what I like doing. And I'm busy, but it's good busy. It's rare that I'm truly getting disturbed. I'm a little dramatic sometimes. I can be a baby, right? Like, I am about my Sundays, please, Sunday afternoon, leave me alone. Last week, I had to drive out the house and flip a breaker. It's like, what are you going to do, man? It's not because anybody's lazy. You're at another house doing something.
I was
on
out.
A Sunday evening at 7 p.m. Who the hell am I to sit on my couch and go,
Yeah.
have Dave do it at 10 p.m. on his way home? Like, It's just a shitty thing to do. So, a question I have for you, Dave, and, don't hold any punches, man. Like, I really want a legitimate answer. Be vulnerable. Feel free to share. How do you see Vibe going in the future? Like, where do you see us getting better? What do we need to do? Because my goal is to be the largest and best vacation rental management company in the Finger Lakes as of now. That goal will grow. That's my goal right now. How do we do that?
Well, I have my own thoughts. I don't know all the back room workings of how Airbnb survives and thrives and stuff like that. I don't go to the conference and talk to the investors and know the algorithms and stuff like that. I just know the blue collar stuff in the field. And I think there's no reason why we can't be the best. And I don't know if the best and the biggest are the two things that we want.
Mutually exclusive.
Yeah. I don't know if we want both of those.
Yeah.
I'd like to be the best. And
Yes.
so I have ways that I think we could get to be the best, and I have ways that I think we can get the biggest, so, but anyways.
That's the truth. I want to stop you there for a second. That's a really interesting point. I'm glad you said that. Because those two paths aren't in alignment a lot of times.
Yeah.
Like, we could be the big, right now, if we go, you know what, we're going to fire our newest hire, we're going to work our staff to death, and then we're going to, the bottom 20% of the stuff, we're just going to say, screw it, and just, it is what it is. We're going to dump all that additional money into marketing. We'll be the biggest in 3 years.
Yeah.
It's not the best.
Josh, how many properties do you turn down? You probably take on, I don't know, 10% of the properties that
we
were
turn
offered
in a
to
lot
you?
now.
Right?
It's so, we used to take everything. I mean,
Yeah.
you can see some of the remnants of that
Yeah.
are still in our portfolio.
And they are still in our portfolio.
Yeah.
And that's why, when I see Vibe in 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, I see those getting weeded out, and I don't see those new ones coming on board. And so to answer your question, to get to be the biggest and the best, I think we have to be really more frank with the owners when we take properties on board.
Yes.
And make sure, like, they have to be, it has to be very clear that this is the way we run it. These are the linens that we like. This is how we like the yard manicured. These are the amenities that we like. These things are going to cost you money.
Right.
You need your driveway plowed in the winter. You need it salted. You can't hire the neighbor to just come shovel when you think it's. These things all have to be in place to be the best.
Yes.
And a lot of times. New owners will come on board, and we don't have those hard conversations with them. I think you have those conversations with them. But I don't think they sink in.
Yes.
Sometimes that you're probably going to have to spend $25,000 this year on maintenance and upgrades.
Well, you look at STR Insights. A friend of mine, Kenny, he owns the business. It's a consulting brokerage, and they help people find good short-term rental investments, and they're the best in the biz. 20% of purchase price is what they advocate for setting aside for furniture and reno. And I'm not talking like a burr, a house that's like terrible. I'm talking just a house you go buy that looks fine. If you spend $500,000, $100,000 is to be set aside for amenities and design.
Yeah.
That's a lot of cash.
It is a lot of cash.
Yeah.
But imagine the results that come from doing it right.
Yes.
That's going to be a 5-star property.
Dude, and I see, and it's
not
so
going to be
hard.
a 3. It's not going to be a 4.62.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's so funny, Dave, because when we were talking about reviews, I thought about it, and I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen a property that didn't have a review that it deserved in terms of an overall score. I can think of one off the top of my head, and sometimes, let's say after a year, right? Because sometimes, like, for instance, that beautiful chalet in Springwater we manage. Sure. We got nicked on like 2 bad reviews right off the rip, and it drove me insane. Because that's a 5-star property.
Yep.
Property is beautiful. They have great amenities, brand new. But typically,
high-end appliances.
Yes, great. When we get to the end of a year and we take the amalgam of the reviews, you look at the score, you look at the house, you go, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's okay. Like a 4.8 is okay. Even we got some 4.6s in our portfolio. I don't love it, but it is what it is, right?
Most of them deserve it.
Yeah, most of them are. That's about where they are. And like, I think something we're really good at is we own our mistakes, man. Like, when I make a mistake, I won't only tell you I made a mistake. I'll pay for it. I mean, I don't know how much money we've shelled out to our clients. Like, this was our fault. If the cleaning got missed and we have to comp a guest, I can't take your money away from you as my client. That was my responsibility.
Yep.
I have to pay the cleaner, I have to pay the guest to comp, and now I have to pay you.
Exactly.
It's the name of the game, So I want to talk a little bit more about.
Can I just mention one more thing?
Please.
So in going forward, and again, I come back to Jill a lot on this because what I would like to see our owners do is to use your expertise, to trust your expertise, to trust Jill's expertise, and take our advice. And if they do that, they're gonna jump off running. They're gonna hit the ground running.
Yes.
And if they don't do it, we're gonna struggle, and we're gonna make a little change here and a little change here, and then the furnace is gonna go.
Right.
And then they're gonna have to dump $30,000 into a new furnace, or a mini split system, which is what we have going on in Cayuga right now. Beautiful property, super property, sleeps 24. They did pretty good at getting the house ready. Not great, but pretty darn good. And now And they've been willing to put money in. Now they've got a $30,000 HVAC issue that they got to do. So guess what? For the next like 8 months, they're not spending a nickel on anything else.
Yeah.
So they're going to have tattered sheets and towels until we make some money back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so you got to get ahead of this stuff early, because if it comes right in the middle, you're going to lose bookings. You know, it's August. We got to be shut down for a few days to make this happen. We had a guest that had to experience 90-degree weather for a week, and so they're not happy. Probably
when guests are hot, they're mad. Like, air conditioners is a non-negotiable at this point. Like, I remember I used to be, if it's below grade or whatever, like, no, you need an air conditioner. It's just like, you look at crime statistics. Crime spikes 120% every time it's 90 degrees out. It's like, people are pissed, man. They're hot. And then instead of committing a crime, they are giving me a 3-star review.
Exactly.
You know, it's
so
terrible.
It's so true.
But I'm glad to hear you say that, Dave, because there really is a clear delineation between being the best and being the biggest. And it's like, where's the synergy between those two things? How do they coincide with one another? How do we make our aim to be both and do it as effectively as we can with a high degree of fidelity, man? That's the question. To me, the direct booking thing is huge. And we're doing a lot of work at Vibe to make that happen. Again, we have got a lot of data. We have the effective means of now delivering that data. We have a lot of historical data on pricing to really hone our pricing in, and have hired some outside consultants to really help us with that. We're revamping our website. We actually meet tomorrow about that, so I'm pretty excited. So we're doing a lot, but a challenge for sure. And I definitely, as we have onboarded more properties, I have been a lot more direct with clients. But like you said, sometimes like, yeah, great suggestion. I'll do that once I start making money. It's like, no, you are not going to make money if you don't listen to me now. I promise you. I've seen this story before. Like, I used to be really shy about, like, you know, when I first got into this game, Josh Bryant, the Airbnb guy, the short-term rental expert. And I was like, I'm an expert. I'm an expert in this business now, and I will claim that. I have my 10,000 hours or whatever it is to be an expert. I don't know everything, but I know a lot of the things, and I've seen this story before, man. And it's tough. It's tough.
I don't think anybody, I don't think anybody really is as knowledgeable as you are in this field, you know, like in our area anyways. But you've taken this kind of to the next generation of short-term rental, and you're using all the tools available in the 21st century, you know, and nobody does it better than you do.
I appreciate that.
And so that's why, you know, like you kind of asked about, you know, our employees and our culture and where we're going to be in 3 years. I'm going to be right here next to you. I'm going to be fighting for you every day. This is the last job this is the last job I will ever have. I love this. You know, I keep saying I love this job. But I am excited to see where Vibe goes, because I know it's going to be giant. You know, I know we are going to be the best and the biggest, and I'm going to ride that out. And hopefully, I'll have a crew of maintenance people that come along with me. But it's going to be. Everybody that we have in position now is great at what they do. Right. Like there's no way to fail when you have great people around you that want to do it. You know, want to do the job. So. Yeah,
and are excited about it. And I agree with you, man. It just brings me so much joy to hear you say that. And I just hope you know, and I tell the staff this all the time, but it will never be forgotten. I have a deeply seated neurological proclivity toward reciprocity. I remember everything everybody does for me. I do not forget. And man, like the way that I see you all work and bust your asses for me and our vision, I just hope I am in a position to return it one day, and I hope I will be, and I think I will be, and we'll get there. But we're still, you know, we're a 4-year-old company. We're coming up on 4 years, you know. So for 4 years, not too bad. You know, we had no marketing budget, really. I mean, when I first started, I did like a couple like competitions. I gave away some money. I gave away like $1,000 at one point, but we had to build all this with no marketing budget. We're actually to the point now where we're going to have like a CRM. We have a marketing budget. We can actually do mailing campaigns, and it's really exciting.
Well, and the other thing, we're implementing these new SOPs and these strategies and stuff like that. This fall we're going to start meeting with owners and going over their properties individually.
I'm excited about that. Yeah,
I think that's going to be a game changer for us. For all of us to sit in a room and have a good adult conversation about, this is your property. Where can we take this property? What do we need to do to make this property great? Have those hard conversations, together and come up with a plan,
Yeah.
And some are going to get on board and they'll see success for it, and others are going to be like, I don't know. I still don't trust you, Josh.
Yeah.
After 4 years, I still don't trust you.
In which case, honestly, man, like my whole thing is like, just setting the expectations. Like, okay, this is your property is probably going to drop off by 5% year on year. And eventually saturation could completely displace you.
Exactly.
And if you're comfortable with that, that's fine,
Yep.
right? No, I'm really excited for a personal goal of mine as an owner and operator of the business is, a role. I heard a guy at the STR Wealth Conference, and with guys like me, it's always hard to pinpoint when somebody's like, what do you do exactly? It's like, it's hard to pinpoint, right? And it's even kind of hard for you.
It's very hard for me.
Yeah, and it's like, I do the things. There's a lot of things, and I do them.
Yeah.
I am the chief facilitator of human resources. That's the way. I'm the chief allocator and chief delegator of where our human capital is going to go and where they're going to expend their energy, their useful energy. And I think that's the best way to kind of wrap it up. And I want to do that for myself as well. It's like, where am I failing? And an area that I was definitely failing at was communicating with our clients and even our guests. And I made a concerted effort to make sure I am like having a heart to heart. I never want to be inaccessible to our clients. I refuse. If my business gets that big, it's too big, right? So I want to be able to sit down twice a year, talk about the properties, talk about the improvements we can make, and really come to a conclusion as to what is our best ROI? How can we best improve your property? You're good. You getting calls?
It's from May every time, it's May. It's May. Dave,
I'm sure
I've
only looked to check the time, but I've been pretty good.
For anybody watching, this is pretty standard.
It's the business, man. Right?
It never ever ends.
And I want to give people a glimpse into this business. Your phone's gone off like 3 times already.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
It's a lot, and to ask you to even take time out of your day this time of the year it's a big ask.
I'm enjoying it. I'm having a great day. This has been the best day I've had.
We got about 20 minutes left, so let's keep it going.
Well, anyways, that's true. You are the human resource backbone of this company. You're allocating to you're putting people.
Technically, Marky's the head of human resources.
Is he really?
I bestowed that formal designation upon him.
Is Marky a real person?
We're still trying to figure it out.
We don't know if Marky's real. He's in the Philippines somewhere. We have a picture of him.
Yeah, we do.
But
it's a good picture. Sorry to cut you off, man. Go ahead.
It's a very good picture. But you're putting us all in position. You're taking our strengths. My strength is just being out there doing blue collar stuff. And shaking hands, kissing babies with the guests, and the owners. And that's the other big thing. You have to communicate with these owners, and you have to have these hard conversations with the owners. I kind of got it made because owner will come to me and say, Dave, I got a problem. And I say, no problem, I'll fix it. And then I fix it, and they give me a big hug, and they're like, Dave's the best. They come to you with a problem, just like, and you're like, I don't know what to tell you, dude. I can't make you make any more money. And they're like, Josh sucks.
It's rough, man. It's rough, and it's funny too because sometimes I feel like people view you as like a separate entity from Vibe.
They do.
Well, that's just Dave. Dave's great, but I have this beef. It's like, Dave's an extension of Vibe.
That's right.
It's like we all work together,
Yeah.
So it's funny, man, and not to tease our clients, our clients are great. We've been blessed with good clients. We really have very few issues.
I've made really good friendships.
Yes,
with
dude.
Our owners.
Our main issue is just like they don't have the money to invest, God forbid, right? And it's like we sympathize with that.
Absolutely.
We get that, man. We're regular people. None of us grew up rich or affluent. We know how that feels. So it's not like we're beating up on them. It's just it's a business, man.
Yeah.
You got to spend money to make it. But our clients are great. We've been very fortunate.
They're top notch.
Yeah.
They really are. I've had very few bad experience. I I've had anxious owners. I've had
That's rough.
Anxiety tends to bring out the worst in people.
For sure.
And but for the most part, we smooth every issue.
Yeah.
And they're happy in the end, and we go on, and they're really nice people.
Yeah.
I have like legitimate friendships with the owners, and I didn't expect that from this job. So it's been a bonus.
For one, handed me over on Cuca before I even had a website. It was our third house.
Yeah.
No website. I didn't even have a shirt that said Vibe on it,
No.
dude. I just showed up and was like, I can do this.
Yeah.
A Facebook group. And the level of gratitude I feel to a person like that was willing to invest in me early.
Yeah.
And was like, I think this guy's got some. I think he'll do a good job.
Yeah.
Just a deep level of gratitude, man.
Yeah. And the other gratitude, like we have a lot of clients that come from competition. They gave them a shot. Maybe they were with them for 10 years or so.
Yeah.
And they've come to us and said, maybe you can do it better.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's one instance where we haven't.
No. Not one.
Every client that we've taken.
We have had one, the one we were talking about earlier, but that was extenuating circumstances. That's the only one though. And honestly, there's some people and that was a great example of that house where I walk in and, I call the other managers in the area my cooperation, right? Like, it's funny because I actually learned this from podcasters and comedians. When you get into this whole world of like the comedian podcasters, they talk about a lot in like the 80s and 90s, like no one was welcoming. When they were doing stand-up, they were overstaying their mic time. They were always doing like what's called bumping people, meaning like, well, I'm more famous than you. Dave was supposed to go up tonight. Josh showed up. See you, Dave.
Yep.
And you had people that came in and really changed the culture of comedy and was like, you know what? I bet if we all just worked together, got along, and were friends with each other, we could all succeed.
Oh, yeah.
And I know a lot of great managers in the Finger Lakes that do a really good job. And it's important to bear that in mind, And I walk in houses all the time and I go, you shouldn't fire this person.
No,
like,
yeah.
I've done that more than two hands. Where I'm like, I see signs of good management everywhere. You're making close to what I would make. I give you free maintenance, but it's close to what I would make. You got signs up. You have a 4.94. Like, things are good. Don't change them. But there are some that shall remain unnamed that we outperform by a wide margin.
Yeah.
Wide margin. Double digits.
Yeah.
We have houses, and it's funny going back to kind of like the interior design thing and the amenities. I can think of a house right now, off the top of my head, that would, with a $40,000 investment, over double its annual revenue, and just didn't want to listen to what I said, invested their money where they thought was best.
Oh, I know the house.
Didn't pay off at all. And
the house now.
Just sitting on this gem of a house that could be so special.
Yes.
And I think they're coming around a little bit. We had those conversations, but so I feel like I might have cut you off. Was there something you were saying? I felt like you were getting to something and then I jumped in.
No, I don't think so. I think that we're still a very young company, and you never stop pushing to do like the next thing better and better and better. Our shortcomings, and we spend time and effort into curing those, and you don't rest on anything. And so I just think we're going to continue to get better and better and better, and then we're going to staff up, and we're all going to be happy. And
that's the goal, man. I mean, innovate or die. And it just blows my mind how, especially in a business like short-term rental management that has so many moving parts, constant new technology, how you just get to a point and you stop and you go, I made it. I'm good. This is what we do. I'm like, no. Like, you should have changes every month, right? You gotta be careful with that. Don't let great be the enemy of good, right? And it has to be done with caution, but yeah, man, I'm excited. I have had this vision for Vibe from the beginning, and I've always had the gift of discernment, and it's something I've been decent at my whole life. When I feel confident about something, I'm rarely wrong, and Vibe was something I was very confident about. I see the direction it's headed. So far, so good. It's exceeded my expectations in a lot of ways. And I'm just excited to see where the next 2 or 3 years brings us. Just that we have a lot of stuff that we're working on that I'm excited about.
Yeah.
And something I wanted to ask you. So 2 more questions.
All right.
And I try to think when I was thinking this question, I'm like, man, what is he going to, what's like the craziest, like a couple stories, like out of all the time that we've had with Vibe, what's something that happened that was just like, what the heck am I even doing right now? Can you think of anything?
I've had some really, I've had some strange, call outs, and we do a lot of stuff in the Finger Lakes in the wine country, and there's always, bachelorette parties and stuff like that. And, I don't know.
I always seem to miss all those calls.
Oh my God. It seems like, anytime you get like 8 or 10 women in a house, after a wine, you're going to get a call out there for something, because they're not going to be able to work, they're not going to be able to figure something out. There's going to be a glitch. And so, I get a lot of those calls, and especially this time of year, and they're always fun, and I'll knock on the door, and they're like, ooh, the entertainment's here, I'm like, not the entertainment, not the entertainment. If I'm the entertainment, then you're probably getting a comp from Vibe, and getting your money back. You're probably getting a refund from the entertainment. If they sent me for your entertainment,
come on,
we got a problem. So, but we always have fun with that kind of stuff. But as far as strange stuff, there's always wildlife issues. My God, snakes drive me nuts. I've been turned inside out by snakes, and stuff like that. There's been call outs where, I've been like on a roof during a lightning storm, being like, I don't get paid enough for this kind of thing, but an owner really wants this done, and it has to be done now. And I think you went out and helped put a tarp in a driving rainstorm one day, because the owner was having a cow about something.
A rough one.
So
you vanquished the bat.
When you
earned your formal designation as the Batman. It's funny because that's your nickname. Our staff in the Philippines call you the Batman. I still don't understand completely the genesis of that, but that's what they call you. And you killed a bat one day. You got a call out, and you killed it with a tennis racket, right?
Actually, no. I caught that one with my bare hands.
That's wild, dude.
Pretty much my bare hands, and stuffed it in a Wegmans bag.
Dude, that's wild.
But I'll just give you a quick story of the Batman, just because I'll never do another podcast again. But the Batman is like when May calls me, when I'm at home, it's 11:30 at night, 12 o'clock, midnight, 1 o'clock, and the phone will light up, and that's the bat signal, and I put my clothes on, and I jump in my truck at 1 o'clock at night, and I go solve something like a superhero, and the guests are happy, and they hug me, and they invite me to stay the night for dinner, come back for dinner tomorrow or something, like everybody's happy, right?
Yeah.
And then the Batman goes home and goes back to bed, but it's really like the phone is like the bat signal, when I see May's face on my phone, I'm like, here it comes.
Dude, it's so wild, because obviously we don't yet have a formal ranking system for maintenance managers nationally, although I will try my best to create one. So you're not truly number 3. I made that up.
Dang it.
You didn't catch on to that.
No, I might have caught on to it.
Dude, I think if it existed, I think you'd be up there, man. Like, I cannot imagine. I don't know how I would replace you. You are truly irreplaceable. Like, dude, it's not to boost you, right? It's just a genuine reaction. Even if you just look at your balance of skill sets, we know how most blue collar guys are, right? And like, that was a big concern of mine. Is I'm a pretty effective communicator. I can be a little prickly, and I can be a little disagreeable, but overall I'm pretty high in agreeableness. I've spent the majority of my life working in female dominated workspaces, so my communication style is pretty good for a typical man, I would say.
Yep.
I'm like, dude, I can't do like the guy that can't take any criticism, and it's always like an ego. I can't do it. Yeah. And I picked up pretty early on with you that not only were you not like that, and you'd be receptive to direction and criticism, that you would be good in the trades and good at communicating with guests and clients, which is a rare combination. Yeah. Very rare.
Well, I love people, I'm a little bit of an introvert, I'm a little introverted, I like my alone time. I like that I'm in my truck by myself. I like going home and doing my work by myself and stuff like that. I don't want to get on the phone with you when I get home from work. I don't want to get on the phone with an owner or anybody. I don't even want to get on the phone with people I like.
Right.
I got to download and do my thing. But I love people, and I think my gift is making people happy. You know, I make my owners happy. And any job that I've ever had, you know, my fellow employees, they look to me to be the rock, you know. My family looks at me to be the rock. I like to be the rock for people, and that's what I get off on. So you depend on me. This company, you can, like you started this out with, how do other people do this? You can't do it.
I don't.
You can't have 100 properties without a guy like me.
I don't even believe them when they tell me they do it. Or again, they're just not doing it well, or they're charging exorbitant amounts. Because to get the average handyman up on a Sunday at 7 p.m. and say, hey, can you go unscrew this light bulb and check the P-trap under the sink? It's like, yeah, for $150 an hour. Right. Like, you are inconveniencing me big time right now. Yeah. You got to have internal staff for that. Yeah. You know?
And they can do it, but they're probably comping a lot.
A lot, man. They have to.
Comp. I'm not coming in unclogging that toilet. I'm going to comp you, you know?
Yes, for sure.
And you're going to live with that toilet for the next 3 days, you know? But I read a lot of reviews about maintenance companies, you know, and what I see oftentimes is they'll give the management company, you know, like 2.9 stars, you know, and it's always because we had this problem, whatever it was, we had bugs, we saw a mouse, the faucet was dripping, whatever. We called. Nobody answered our calls.
Yeah, that blows my mind.
And nobody showed up.
Yep.
And
blows my
you're
mind.
Getting 1 star. You know, Mr. Management company are getting a 1 star from me.
Anytime someone's left that in a review for us, they are lying, or they did the wrong thing to communicate us. They called a number that didn't exist or something.
Exactly.
We've never, not my number is still publicly available. Like, if all else fails, call this guy, and it goes right to me. Yeah. It's not a choice, man. It's just hospitality. It's not real estate. Yeah. You have to at least show face, which is what I think you're getting at. Even if you can't solve the problem, you got to show up.
Yeah, and not a lot of other management companies seem to do it very well.
Yeah.
They might show up 2 days later, 3 days later. We're there that day.
Yes.
I'm there the next morning.
You have to be.
Or we're making calls, or we're getting a pro out there to get there the next day and stuff like that. And I think that's what sets Five apart.
For sure, man. So, last question here. We're almost done. It goes quick, right?
It does.
Not so bad. Is this your first time you ever sat down for an interview?
I've done a couple.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So it goes.
A couple radio smooth. Interviews. This is the first one taped
with such a famous guy like me.
Yeah. Well, you said in the chat on the way over. I was reading the chats and. Me and Dave are going to do this podcast. This is the start of his acting career or something like that. But it's not.
Oh, yeah? What do you got?
I was on General Hospital.
Oh, dude, you guys.
I actually had 3 scenes in General Hospital. I was on a soap opera back in the day.
Yo, you got to find it. Do you have it?
Yeah, I went. They had castings. I was in college at the time, and they had castings. Me and my roommates, we all loaded up, and we went and I had to play a weatherman, and I got accepted, to be in this.
We got to track that down. And, that is amazing.
And then they were filming in Niagara Falls, and I ended up being in 3 scenes, like with the star of the show. Like, I had to push a button to the elevator, and he ran in with a gun, It was classic. So,
oh, my God.
Anyway, so it's not my first rodeo here.
Nice, man. Well, nice. My last question for you, my personal favorite time of the year, and I'd imagine yours as well. We're both hunters. It's the fall, man. Spooktober. I love Halloween and football and chili and soup, man. I'm over the hot weather. We're going to walk outside. It's going to be 80. I'm not built for it. No. I like the fall.
I do too.
And I like haunts and specters.
Yeah. Wow.
You ever had anything spooky happen at any of our houses?
Well, I get freaked out, like I don't embrace the spooky as much as you do, know. I tend to get freaked out by certain things, but what comes to mind is, we have this house in Orchard Park, and, it's a pretty famous house up there. And there was a famous murder. I think a guy murdered his wife or something like that. Yeah. And, I don't know, stuffed her body in the closet or something like that.
Something wild,
and it was pretty wild. There was a whole documentary on it and stuff like that. So I've had to, when I go to Orchard Park, it's quite a drive. And so I usually make a day of it. And like, I'll go there at 8 a.m. and I might not come home till midnight because I've got to get everything done in Orchard Park. We have a couple houses up there. So it's not just an 8-hour day. I make a 16-hour day out of it. So I'm in this house, And every time I pull in the driveway, I think of that story. I mean, I can't help it. So I'm in this house and I'm doing some things, and it's getting late and it's dark and it's maybe 11 o'clock at night. And I'm the only one there, just puttering around, taking care of a bunch of little projects. And so I start to hear this kind of like shh, like shh, quiet sound. And I'm like, what is that? And I'm in the basement. And then I'd hear shh, and then I hear a little click, shh, click, shh, click. And every minute or two or three.
Yeah.
And it started really freaking me out. And so I walked through the whole house, couldn't find where, I'm listening to all the appliances and stuff, can't find it anywhere. So finally I go down to the basement, and what was happening was the wind was blowing, and the dryer vent goes out and it had the little flapper. The wind would blow just right, the flapper would open, and in would come this breeze, and it would go shh. Yeah. And then as soon as the wind died down, the flapper would close and it'd go click. And it was this shh, click, shh, click. And it for an hour, it freaked the hell out of me.
You're trying to figure it out.
Oh my God. I was torn between, do I leave or do I have to have an answer to this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it a spook or is it something? So anyways, but it never would have freaked me out had I not known that a woman was murdered in that house.
Right.
And a really famous murder.
Yeah. We need to, I'm looking forward to the day we have a house that is haunted enough to post that as part of the experience, the haunted house of wherever, something like that. But we don't have one yet, do we? I don't think so.
I think one of our clients on Cuca.
That's true. If there's one in our portfolio, there's two I have in mind. That is one of them.
That's definitely one. The other one down in Trumansburg.
Yes, that's the other one. Yep.
There's no doubt that some freaky stuff. People have died in that house.
It's 1850.
Yeah, people have died.
It's before the Civil War. Yeah.
Probably not murdered, but they probably have passed away in their sleep.
No doubt. There's bodies buried in the land, I'm sure.
Exactly.
If people were buried there.
And we do a lot of stuff in Indian country. There's a lot of Indian folklore and stuff like that.
Yeah. Get the old Wendigo out there.
Yeah. So, but for the most part, no, because all of our houses have been flipped and remodeled and stuff, and you can't tell what the bones really look like. So.
Oh man, well, great. This was awesome, man. I appreciate you taking time to do this. If Vibe was a human being, you'd be the heart, man. You are the heart and soul of what we do. I appreciate you so much, bro. I really genuinely do. And I will not forget it, and I will continue to repay you every way I can, man. And
you tell me that a lot. And it means a lot, I appreciate that so much. You guys are a great company to work for, and I have great bosses. I've never had bosses like this. I'm at the end of my career. I've had a lot of jobs. I've worked a lot of years for a lot of people. I've never had bosses like this. No one's ever told me that before, and you tell me it all the time. So thank you.
Good.
I appreciate it.
Good. Thank you, Dave. Thank you.
All right,
everybody. Vibe Short-Term Rental Management, and I hope you learned something today. I'll see you all later.